Hi, Cherry.
Yeah.
So we've just done our lessons and we're very, very excited to talk to you about this. So Jason, how did this come about?
I think my lesson goes quite well, and because of we're using Google Translate as our tool to use their mother tongue to help students to learn English.
Yes.
And I think in this whole idea, I think our students have an idea that English is not a thing that block their creativity or block their will of express their themselves.
Yeah, I think that's really exactly the intention that was there, and it's just perfect because, like, as Cherry was also sharing, you know, how if you choose Chinese, you have to put it in, you have to put a dollar in the swear jar, where basically their mother tongue is turned into a swear language of sorts, which is
taboo.
It's become taboo, and I think it's so unfair to them because it's so colonial and oppressive in many ways, because you're telling them that what they know is worthless, and that's not really a good idea at all. So this was a very interesting experiment in general. So what was the student response in your class when you did this activity?
Yeah, I think for my class, most of them are quite struggle at first, but after they know how to utilize the Google Translate, I think their creativity just came up. Yeah, because at the very beginning of the class, or at the very beginning of the year, I think they just think that English is blocking their creativity, blocking the way that they express. I think the main thing is they just went through it.
Yeah. In my classes, it was when I first said, okay, you can use Chinese. And then they were like, we can use Chinese in the class? And they couldn't believe it. And even though in the first lesson, they didn't really understand that to complete a sentence, if they don't know the word, they couldn't understand, they couldn't fathom the concept that they can fill in the blanks of their own knowledge with Chinese, you know? So that aspect was so shocking for them, and that was interesting. But what came about from it was so beautiful, because I had 3 lessons to do this, and that process, it basically liberated them and it freed them to come up with more ideas. And you know, in the end, they were so creative, they were enjoying it so much, they were practicing their 2-minute presentations, so it went really, really well.
So Ashley, so what did you learn from my lesson?
I think it was really interesting to know about your lesson, especially how you used their own previous knowledge and their own interests, you know, like Thanos and other things like that. I think in my lesson, it was very focused on, you know, the kind of very conventional tasks of writing a story and telling a story of those 4 pictures, but because you were using their own interests of Marvel comics and, you know, DC comics, and how they were combining all those and coming up with new sentences and ideas, that was really interesting. What was even more interesting, I think, as a local teacher, I feel you have an added advantage that you can easily provide them with that support. If they don't know a word, they can easily ask you, Mr. What do they call you?
Mr. Wong.
Mr. Wong. Mr. Wong, how do you say this in Chinese, in English? And they can easily ask you, you know, and you understand their intentions much better than I do. So in fact, I think one of the learnings for me was to realize that I need to learn Cantonese as well. I also need to be a learner with them. How about you?
Thank you so much. And I think I've learned from you is the best part is about how to connect different story plots together. Because most of the time, I expect too less of my students, and I see actually maybe after they can use their mother tongue to help them to express or to tell an English story, actually Chinese can help a lot, and they can actually fill in much more information than just by just describing one pictures at a time. And just 4 sentences would come out, and then that's it. So I think that's the point that as a NET teacher, and what I can learn from you is to raise my expectation. Because as a local teacher, we just always see that, if you can get a pass, or if you can achieve this
Achieve that
task,
goal,
yes,
yes.
our goal is already okay.
Yeah.
But I won't expect more. So I think that's the most important thing that I've learned.
Great, thank you. So thank you, Sherry,
Yeah, thank
for
you.
listening to us, and I hope you enjoyed listening to us.
Yes.
And we look forward to further conversations on this really interesting topic. And we actually hope that even in our own schools as well, that this is incorporated and used more, because it's not really fair to kind of ban this kind of process. Yes.
Yeah. I hope this policy things can
Yes.
be really changed one day.
Yes,
We
agreed.
can use mother tongue much more frequently.
Yes.
So that's it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Bye bye.